3 seconds, that's all I've got to catch your attention, and it's already gone. How can I catch your attention without using obvious clickbait? Well, I could use a dog because she's super cute, and hopefully say something that actually is of value to you. So, if our attention span is so short, how could we learn to make it longer? Hi there, Dr. Brian here. It's Thursday, I'm on the way home from work, and this is my chat from the car with sugar on my lap. What's very interesting is that the brain is developing into, if you like, a more scattered attention function. It's really hard for most of us to actually hold attention to things even that we want to look at, want to pay attention to, that we are constantly distracted. So our ability to actually focus for longer and pay more attention is actually greatly reduced. Now, I believe that we probably all learn to process more information more quickly so that we actually are able to take more in and make sense of it and filter it in and out. And so basically what we're doing most of the time is filtering out. There's so much information coming at us that we now have a very protective role of the brain to actually discard most of the input. Mostly because there is such a vast quantity of it, it's just not possible for our brains to process it all, so mostly it's discarding it. Now, how we decide what's important to us is actually to do with some physiology, and also whether it captures our attention in a world where our attention is very much up for grabs, and we become so used to certain stimulus, it just has to become more excessive and extreme to catch our attention. I'm not sure that that really serves us, and I'm sure that quite often we actually don't find out anything worthwhile in the 3 or 4 seconds that we allow ourselves to focus on things. Now, I'm part of this world, so I'm well aware of how it works. I'm aware that when I'm looking on various media, if I'm on my computer, every email that comes in puts a little flag that floats and distracts me. Do I want to open it? Is it important? When I get to my email inboxes, just thousands of emails there that I think I'll look at later, but I don't. So, and then I skim quickly, see if there's something that catches my eye. The idea of deleting everything takes too long, so I delete nothing. It's now got, just a stupid amount of emails in it, so we might just do Control All and delete everything and start again. I'll probably lose some things of value, but maybe we can get them back again. It's no problem. So when we look at how the brain works and how we actually work at thinking and understanding, making decisions and taking action, I believe that the overstimulation actually makes it much harder for us to make good decisions, because good decisions require us taking information in, processing it, judging it and weighing it, and then coming up with a solution. Now, without any criticism, I am listening to the coaching calls on this One Funnel Away channel, a challenge, and during one of the more interactive coaching calls with Stephen Larson, people are he's asking people to work out, who's their ideal customer, what do they want, how do you design it to suit them. And what I'm noticing is that a lot of people can't, they want it done for them. They almost can't even do the mental, I think the idea of doing the mental work to actually sit down with a blank bit of paper and work that out, which is actually quite difficult to actually imagine who your ideal customer is. Do you want to define it? Do you want to keep it broad? Do you want to make it narrow? There's a whole lot of parameters you need to deal with. But it's actually quite a task. It's quite hard to sit down and decide who the ideal customer is, because once you have to know who they are before you can know how to design your ideal product that actually answers the problems of that ideal client. So I find that really fascinating, because I suppose it's to some extent an example of some of the problem that we have in the world, that we're quite reactive. Most of us are reactive. We see things, react to it, and we're not very good at processing and judging and discarding or taking it in. Sort of all the decisions are made for us, and then we react to them. So I think that there are exercises to work with the concept of increasing your ability to focus and concentrate. And one of the classical and long-standing ways to that is to do a practice of meditation. And that just takes time to develop that skill. And when I say to clients, do you meditate? Have you tried? And the common answer is no, I can't, or it's too difficult. I say, well, could you play Paganini? And that's my my flippant quip. And they may not get it, but generally they would say, no, I can't play the piano or the violin. But you could, but you'd have to practice for hours, for hours a day and years to become good at playing a very complex piece of music like that. And so I think in this era of maybe a difficulty of focus, I think that's probably the main thing. And you have to have really wanted to push through the difficulty, because it's quite painful learning to focus, because your mind is desperate to skitter around and look at 1,000 things. And we've trained it to do that with the way we take information and process it very fast. So the net effect of all of that is that meditation is kind of like putting bamboo under your fingernails. It's very painful. So there are various tools that you can use. Insight Timer is a great online app. Use it on your phone, and it has meditations, from a minute to hours, and gazillions of genres, 8,000 meditations that you can listen to. And I've been using it every morning. I've been meditating every morning for the last 5 years, and I'm not good at it, but I'm better at it, and I don't miss a day, because Insight Timer stops counting every time I drop a day, and that goes back to zero. So that's a huge disincentive. When you've got 900 days stacked up, you don't want to go back to zero. So I think that's something to work with. There's all sorts of ways of doing it, but some of the classical ways are super effective. Feeling your breath, focusing on breathing in and out, watching a candle, really stilling your mind. And when the thoughts float in, you just say, okay, well, let's go back to the candle. You don't worry about it. You just redirect your thoughts back to what you want to focus on. Focus on the less, focus on nothing. And that actually is really powerful. Patting the dog, patting the cat, that, as long as it's not panting like sugar, that actually is very calming and quieting, and that often will help you settle your mind. So something to do as a practice is to find a way to actually quiet the mind. Physiologically, another way to quiet the mind is to do exercise, because once you've actually tired the body, the mind is much more happy to sit still. If the body is not tired, but you're exhausted mentally, it's often really hard to quiet the mind. So you use up some of that pent-up energy in your body with exercise, and you'll feel energized in your body and quietened in the mind. It's a beautiful shift where the mind is happy to sit still and your body is happy to rest afterwards. So, start where you are, but the more you can get to a point where you are having some struggle with breathing, so you pushed your body a little bit, that's a really good way to get to the point where your body is happy to relax and sit quietly. So there's your homework. Do a bit of exercise, sit quietly, watch a candle flame. Just try and focus on the candle. They say become one with the candle, but just really let your body drop into that space where everything's relaxed and the candle is all that you're paying attention to. You may only stay there 30 seconds, a second, 5. The more you do it, the longer it'll get. Give it a go, let me know how you get on. You will never regret doing that. All the best.